shit. I wonder if it'll take less time to jerk off now that I'm smaller. Holy shit!
No, there ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. I got bills to pay, I got mouths to feed. There ain't nothing in this world for free. No, I can't slow down, I can't hold back. Don't you know, I wish I could. No, there ain't no rest for the wicked. Till we close our eyes for good.
I love Aliens Colonial Marines. I love the story surrounding Aliens Colonial Marines. I love that it took years before No Man's Sky dethroned it as the king of false advertising, of overpromising and not delivering, of people lying their asses off and acting like some kind of cartoon caricature of a sleazy corporate executive trying to defend releasing a game as hilariously dumb as Aliens Colonial Marines. But you know, it's not that bad according to Randy Pitchford, Gearbox CEO, and a guy who started his career making maps for a couple of my favorite games, Duke Nukem 3D and Shadow Warrior. I didn't know he made any of these maps, but I know those games like the back of my hand pretty much. I can kind of judge these as they go by. This is the best info I can find on map authors for these 20-year-old games. Shadow Warrior, the first level, started by Randy Pitchford, finished and modified by Stephen Cole. That's Seppuku Station, a classic, love it. Dark Woods of the Serpent, finished, modified by Keith Schuler, started by Randy Pitchford.
Who's in the bush there, rabbit? Aha! Have a fun, little rabbit, aha!
Sumo Sky Palace, finished, modified by George Broussard, started by Randy Pitchford. So I'm thinking, there seems to be a pattern here of Randy Pitchford starting something and someone else finishing it. Maybe he fucked off Duke 3D Atomic to go work on Shadow Warrior, but I'm betting he fucked off good and proper during Aliens Colonial Marines to work on Borderlands, and Borderlands 2, because this game took 7 years to make.
The team that worked on it kind of was going in one direction, and then, like, Sega was running into some trouble and they just sort of stopped, and so we had to just sort of sit there and wait for them. And then we had another team come in and they went in a completely different direction, and then it was probably one of those 7.5 kind of games that came out right after we did Borderlands, and so everybody wanted a 9. It had all this expectation. It's one of those expectation management things. So it was like a 7.5 game, which I think would have been fine for an Aliens game. So it was like a 7.5. Would have been fine for an Aliens game.
We're Aliens fans. These movies defined science fiction for so many people, and it's humbling that my studio and I get to create a sequel to these films in video game form.
Oh, sure, you're gonna claim this is canon and then reference the other canon you wanted to ignore and then don't explain what the,
You know, we've taken the risk to tell the story of what happens next.
So it was like a 7.5.
Fast.
Scary.
Frightening.
Badass. Badass.
So it was like a 7.5.
You know, when Randy Pitchford gave this game a 7 out of 10, it means one of two things. Randy Pitchford is lying, or Randy Pitchford has terrible fucking taste in video games. I paid $2.50 for this piece of shit on a Steam sale. You think I'm gonna pay $30 for a mission pack and multiplayer content for a game no one plays? How about you go fuck yourself, Randy? The first level is called Seppuku Station. Hi, Randy Pitchford. I'm blaming you for all the dickish parts. Oh, god damn it! Oh, you Randy, you motherfucker! Oh, right, there's a guy over there shooting heat-seeking missiles at you. Hey, thanks, Randy. This isn't even Randy's map, I'm just fucking with you. Who put this Shadow Ninja in this little corner where you're never gonna see him while you're entering this cave? Randy? Did you do that, Randy? Because if you moved him up a little, he'd be able to register you as a target, and then you wouldn't be able to kill him so easily. Just think, you could change one tiny, minute little error, probably just one little thing, and it would work as intended. Oh shit, this map wasn't Randy Pitchford. Still though, holy fuck, this is awesome. You can pick up a copy of these bona fide classic games on Steam for... No, you can't. Thanks, Randy, you barely legal squirty magic trick on a USB drive in medieval times, profiteer off the backs of hardworking game devs not noticing 10 grand off your credit card, lying, low-rent party magician, pendulette filleting, backstabbing, mall narking, Sega cheating.
Greasy bastard.
I love a good joke. I mean, for fuck's sake, I own the Duke Nukem franchise.
I hope Gabe eats your soul for your treachery.
For this playthrough, we're going to be using the Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour. Nah, I'm kidding, we're using E-Duke. Fuck off, Randy. We're not doing that. I'm just gonna warp. It's got all the devs' faces on it. See the faces. Oh, hello, Randy. Oh, no, no Randy. Coming up right behind greasy bastard Randy-Bo-Bandy, trailing psychic super soldier prototype and Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner John Carmack, struggling against Gordon Ramsay, who got an early and unfair lead, but I think it's still anyone's race to win. It's gonna be a barn burner at the track today, folks. And greasy bastard has broken his leg on the track and stolen $12 million from his race team. I don't think he'll be much of a competitor, but we'll see how the trial goes. Who wants to hear the Duke sing? Huh? It's great.
Born to be wild. Born to be wild.
He has other talents.
Born to be wild.
Holy shit, that's actually worse.
We're talking about Duke Nukem Forever, which Gearbox decided to take on, and my first question would have to be, are you f***ing insane?
When we got the news that 3D Realms was done, the bad news in May of 2009 that they'd shut their doors, that they laid off the team, and that Duke was dead, that was a bad day, man. There's something blocking progress, and I have to figure out how to get around this.
I was actually expecting, to be quite honest, Gearbox to put more effort into the base game, to really help the small team called Triptych.
Yes.
Some ex-3D Realm guys.
Yeah.
Who were
8 of them or so, as I recall,
right.
right?
They were basically taking this all upon themselves.
There's a group of guys, including Alan, they kept the dream alive. And we realized that we were in a position to support them and support that effort.
I was expecting Gearbox to add like 10 or 20 people in the short term to really kind of beef up the development muscle and, and fix up a lot of the issues that were still in the game.
We found an opportunity where we were in a position where we could help.
How are you coping with the burden?
All I can say is balls of steel.
But y'all just need to see Civvie play the Duke Nukem Forever. It's gotta hear Civvie opine about how Randy Pitchford is greasy. Maybe after this we can move on. Both of these builds reportedly exist, with the 2001 version being 90% finished. 3D Realms has it, and it was sent along to Gearbox and Take-Two, the current owners of the Duke Nukem rights. Oh, hi, Randy. I think the way to do it is to have a new package with things like Forever and all the old Megaton stuff, and maybe the 20th anniversary. Basically everything we can get together, and then have the old DNF stuff as sort of this free giveaway. This free bonus that you can have access to. That's right now the easiest legal path. Yeah, of course, because that would be great, Randy. Just a fucking plus. 7.5 out of 10. Please make me buy not just one game that I already own, but like 5 games I already own to get access to a game that you don't consider finished. Let me see here. Is it more finished than, say, Aliens Colonial Marines? Recently, we earned a commercial license to redistribute DNF. Why? The bad news is that if we want to release the old shit, it will have to be bound to the commercial release, or we will have to work on a different license with 2K. Why anyone would believe that I would want anything but the best possible future for Duke is beyond me. I have the most at stake. Meanwhile, there's some serious stuff in play with Duke that should make the fans happy, but all this petty shit is not helpful. That was 16 months ago. Let's see what happened with Duke since then. Oh, nothing? Nothing? The relationship between 3D Realms and Gearbox is a little strained at the moment, what with Gearbox owning their most important property. And that time they tried to make a Duke game that became Bombshell, or as Randy put it, he got burned. Ooh, yeah, the people who made the character wanted to make a Duke game again while you were busy putting him into an overpriced Bulletstorm remaster. But sorry, we can't let the 2001 build a DNF leak. It's not like they've ever released an unfinished version of a Duke Nukem game before. But no, Take-Two needs to make money off of it, despite the fact that they didn't put a goddamn cent into the 2001 version of the game. That was still 3D Realms' cash they were burning. So fuck Take-Two, and fuck Randall S. The S is for You want to give Randy credit for saving Duke, that's fine. But sometimes, dead is better. $35 at the time and you'd get that game and early access to the DNF demo. Because there has to be some way to cash in, right? That sounds a lot like women crying. Is that... Oh. Oh, God. Oh.
Duke, what's happening to us?
Think of how many people this had to pass by before release. How many people, including totally woke Randy Pitchford...
Nobody likes a bigot unless he's crying.
Who saw this and said, yeah, let's keep that in. 3D Realms was going to release an expansion pack, the Plutonium Pack, which included a whole new episode comprised of 11 new maps designed by returning champions Alan Blum, Richard Level Lord Grey, Shadow Warrior alum Keith Schuler, and a young upstart by the name of Randall Pitchford II. Oh, Randy.
I love a good joke.
Oh yes! The very first level of the episode was made by Randy Pitchford, and I can tell because it's called It's Impossible, and that's an obvious lie, because here I am finishing it, and I suck at video games. Secret level. Oh, right, it's another Randy level. Man, that young Randy Pitchford fellow seemed to have a good head on his shoulders. I feel like I'm complimenting Randy Pitchford too much, but if you pay attention to the news cycle, he's usually doing something greasy. Next up, Triple X Stacy, a producer of erotic entertainment. This surprisingly is not a Randy Pitchford level. So in the 90s, they used to release pornography other places that weren't the internet, and to do that, they had to put them on these things called VHS tapes. Yup, that's the staff. Is that Randy Pitchford with a beard? Oh, I'm sorry, I mean Rondi. That's a nice beard, Randy. I got bad news for you, though. You think you're Hans Gruber, but you're really Ellis, motherfucker. What other pearls of wisdom could we get from this review? Cryptic Passage is included in Blood Fresh Supply, and Wanton Destruction is included in Shadow Warrior Classic Redux. However, DC and Caribbean are not included in the Cursed Randy version. I mean, Devolver Digital and Night Dive were apparently able to deal with Sunstorm to get this stuff just fine, but it seems like when you introduce a Randy into the equation, everything falls apart for some reason.
Morning, Mr. Freeman. Looks like you're running late.
Oh god, that's HD Barney. Hold on. We're turning the HD models that came with Blue Shift off. Oh. Hello, Randy. Perhaps another time your grease will seep into this show, but not today. Whew, that's better.
7.5.